Hey guys, this is Drew, also known as Random Planet, and we're back here for the first time in 7 months going over what is going on with my MS. I had my first appointment since December with neurology, and then my first appointment at the Mayo Clinic in 3 months because of what was going on with COVID-19. So I was able to do some physical therapy today where they ran me through the gamut. I did a 6 minute endurance test, and I was just exhausted afterwards. But what we're going to be talking about today is what is going on with the progression of my disease, um, especially during the neurology appointment. So we're going to get right into that. So here's my office visit progress notes for the Mayo Clinic. 7-year-old with presents with elevation of multiple sclerosis. Since our last visit in November 2019, he has not any persistent worsening of his symptoms. He has noticed occasional pseudo flares. States that he is doing this. Rollers with IT bands, blurry vision in left eye, etc., etc. But my point here, when I get down here, is the positive for fatigue and weight gain of more than 10 pounds, eyes positive for visual disturbance, respiratory positive for dyspnea, cardiovascular positive for pain in calf muscles when walking and shortness of breath when lying flat, musculoskeletal positive for arthritis, which I'm not 100% sure what that is, back pain, pain or stiffness in the joints, joint swelling and muscle pain, stiffness, neurological, positive for numbness or shooting pain in the arms, legs, feet, uh, in the hands, arms, legs, or feet, excessive daytime sleepiness, loss of balance, or tendency to fall easily, which is the reason why I have my one arm crutch there. The forearm crutch. It helps me kind of balance as I'm walking. Um, so they went through his neurological exam to summarize as follows: mental status and language were intact to conversation. I mean, I've been pretty good with conversation. I still do lose thoughts here and there, but it's been pretty decent. Phonoscopic exam extreme revealed clear disc margins with no disc pallor, which is good. Extraocular movements were intact, no evidence of an INO or APD. Colorblind at baseline, therefore red and green saturation would not be evaluated. She showed me a red watch, and she's like, "Oh, do you see a difference in color?" And it's like, I've been colorblind since I was a kid, so that's not gonna help there. Um, so this is where it really kind of get there. Reflexes were minimally reduced in the upper extremities, but normal in lower extremities. There was no plantar response noted. So what they did is they ran a tool across the bottom of my foot to be able to check for a response, because it kind of gives, like, the first time they did that months ago, there was patches of the bottom of my foot where they would catch and it would kind of jerk a response because it has like a sharp scratching feel to it. And there was none. There was none at all. So that's, my feet are basically gone at this point. He had increased spastic tone in left lower extremity. There's also mildly slowed rapid alternating movements in the left hand. So what that means is she had me go like this with my right hand, and when I try to do that with my yeah, when I try to do that with my left hand, it's, see how fast it goes. It's, unfortunately, it just shows that there's progression in the left side of my especially with my leg as well. Wide base gait, slight angle component favoring the left knee. Also appears a subduction of the left leg. This gait does seem to improve significantly when he utilizes one arm cane. When I'm not walking with that, I am very, very uneven, very, very unstable. So I was scored as a -3 on the hand, -2 on the top of my right hand. Um, -3, -3, -4, and then obviously the -4s for my feet. So what this did is this left me with a no relapse progression without relapse since onset, but no relapse since this there. Um, Functions are really good across the way, except for sensory being really bad, visual starting to be really bad. And what this left me with was an expanded disability status score of 7. Now, the expanded disability status score is something that we looked at before. So, with MS, the neurological functions that happen over time with the expanded disability status score means a 0 is normal neurological function, no disability with only minimal signs is a 1, minimal disability with a 2, moderate disability with a 3, relative severe disability with a 4, disability affects full daily activities with a 5, the assistance required to walk and work is a 6, and a 7 is essentially restricted to a wheelchair. I have not been essentially restricted to a wheelchair, but that is where this next part is going to lead in, because as she's told me, it's a 6 leading into a 7. This is not good. This is not good. I was diagnosed with MS in June of last year. It's been a year. It's been a year since I was diagnosed. And this is what the worry is. So she goes, Mr. Sophie is a pleasant 37-year-old male who was first diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in May of 2019. It was late May, early June. Initially, his course did appear to be most consistent with relapse remitting as he was having improvement with his symptoms. However, based on my exam today, I do worry that he may be developing progressive MS. So, relapse remitting is when you have relapses that cause you to lose feeling and then you gain some, if not all of it back. I've had 3 of those where I've gained some of it back. I haven't gained all of it back, and that's how I've lost my feet, part of my leg, my hands, and then just slowing function in other ways. The reason why she's worried about the secondary progressive, which is what primary progressive when it starts out as progressive MS, which is meaning no relapses, it just gradually gets worse and worse and you don't get things back. Secondary progressive is the same thing as the primary progressive, except it doesn't start out that way. It starts out as the relapse remitting and then progresses into the secondary progressive, where without relapse, I can still get the loss and sensation, loss and functions, and gradually slowly get worse. And that's where they're afraid that I'm at right now. So, I mean, it's been a particularly stressful day. Going through all this. He said, alternatively, this could be related to the buildup of burden with spinal cord has left him with some permanent deficits. Meaning I have 2 lesions in my lumbar, which is the lower spine, and then I have 2 lesions in my cervical spine, which is the it's the neck area of the spinal cord. Particularly given his spasticity in his lower left leg and slow, rapid movements of the left hand that are new on the exam compared to back when I saw him back in November of 2019. Regardless, he needs to initiate disease-modifying therapy. We will have discussed this extensively in the past, and he has elected to go forward with the initiation of Ocrevus, which I think is appropriate given the severity of disease and involvement with his spinal cord that will put him at higher risk for significant disability. Unfortunately, initiation of this medication has been limited due to the social situation. The whole issue of having to find a new place to be able to work with my disability and COVID-19. COVID-19 shut down so many things. The hospitals weren't taking appointments for multiple months, which is the reason why I haven't had a single appointment for over 3 months. However, going to provide him with a new property, the Ocrevus paperwork, which I did fill out today. I'm going to be bringing that back to the clinic or to the hospital tomorrow. I'm going to take it home, fill it out tonight, drop off tomorrow morning. Once this is done, we'll get it submitted and rediscuss insurance approval for Ocrevus going forward. At a visit today, we have discussed the medication put him at higher risk for infection. He is aware has been taking precautions for it. They want me to undergo more MRIs. The last time that I did basically a full body MRI, I was in the tube for 2.5 hours. Which is the reason why I want to hold off until December, because I really don't feel... I'm a big dude. Sitting inside a tube for 2.5 hours is not fun at all. So we're going to push that back until December while we get set up with the Ocrevus, and then we're going to do a 3-month follow-up. Apparently she had wants to discuss laboratory evaluation, including vitamin D, because they're worried about my vitamin D intake. So this is something that we have been worried about, because it's pretty natural for relapse-remitting MS to be able to progress into secondary progressive, and unfortunately, mine seems to be heading down that route in just a little bit over a year since diagnosis, which is incredibly stressful to be able to hear. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of freaking out a little bit just plain because of the fact it's, the one thing that I've always seen is the relapses. So I would lose feeling and I'd gain back. I always had that motion of, hey, yes, things are getting bad right now, but I'm going to get the stuff back. I'm going to get it back. And it's not the case if this goes into secondary progressive. If it goes into secondary progressive, I won't even get the feeling of or that I have that relapse and that I could do the steroid treatments or whatever to be able to bring it back down. And maybe lose something, maybe gain it all back, who knows. It's actually now I could just slowly lose function. And that's terrifying. That is terrifying. It's one of those things where I've seen it worse for other people as well, and that's the thing is I always very adamantly state that there are the people that have it worse than I do. I've talked to teenagers who were diagnosed with primary progressive. A friend of mine, Dave, we're not going to name him other than that, he was diagnosed with primary progressive and he was in a wheelchair in less than a year. Let's just say it's an extremely stressful time. So, yeah, that's the reason why I'm documenting this now, and I think I need to document much more often, especially if I have the appointments and like physical therapy and stuff like that as well. Once I get moved into the apartment, I'm probably going to do a couple of videos where I do like the exercises that I'm going through and everything else. Once I get the proper camera set up and everything else to be able to document what is going on with those. But I will be seeing her again in 3 months, and I will also do some updates, if not some videos, when I'm getting the transfusions of Ocrevus, which Ocrevus is an infusion that I will get for the first time once this gets set up. I will get it for the first time, and then I'll get it another 2 weeks later, and then once every 6 months from that point in time. Now, it does leave my immune system relatively crippled because of it. It does have the most effect on the immune system, but at the same time, it also has the most effect towards slowing the disease. And I think I would rather possibly get sick than have my disease progress faster by doing a different type of medication, which is the reason why we're going with the more aggressive route of treatment, I guess you can say. Alright guys, I am gonna try to keep up on these as much as possible. I know I have not done one of these in a long time. I am sorry for that. I am, as I said, it's kind of all just weltering in my head right now. If you guys would like to be able to see more information on my disease, there is more information on some of the earlier videos as well, and then I'm going to try to be able to go over through these. I'm very open with what's going on with me, so I have no problem going over my doctor's notes or anything like that. I just want to say thank you for being there. Thank you for the kind words that I've seen. And guys, during these tough times, I understand if you guys are, looking out for me or saying, kind words to me, but also look out for yourselves. I hope that you, your friends, your family, and your loved ones are safe during these tough times, and I will see you again in the next video there, and hopefully we have a little bit better news by then. We'll see you guys again next time. Bye-bye.